Are you Norma Ray?
No.
Okay, no ma'am. Miss Ray, you will come, I don't have, Miss Ray, you will come after the meeting. No, you have a non-agenda item. So the non-agenda items are addressed after the meeting. And I don't see you registered on the list. Did you call and sign in today?
Well, I thought I was signed in with the code enforcement. I'm not familiar with what signed in.
I'm not sure. Is Miss Williams here? Can you come and speak with her? Will you step back? Raise your hand, Miss Williams. Step back and let Miss Williams know what it is you want to address. And she should be able to assist you. That is our speakers for this evening. At this time, we will have one speaker after the meeting. We will open our meeting this evening with our invocation, and our invocation will be brought to us by Reverend Stanley, Pastor Stanley Blair of the New Hope Missionary Baptist Church of Bosco. We would like you to stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us bow. Merciful God, we come on this evening, pausing to say thank you. Thank you for this gathering tonight. We pray, oh God, that your wisdom will fall fresh on this assembly. Oh God, lead these leaders, bless our mayor, bless our council members, and God, help them lead this city into a unified city. And we pray, God, your blessing from, oh God, north, south, east, and west of this city, that it will be a place that only you can help us to unify. We pray your wisdom on those that will be making decisions on the best interests of this city. Each person that populate this city, because of your wisdom through these leaders, oh God, will be blessed from, oh God, the leadership that you are providing for them to us. We ask it all in the majestic, mighty, and awesome name, which is above every name, and that name is Jesus. And the congregation said amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Mays.
Here.
Councilmember Holcomb.
Here.
Councilmember Brown Jr.
Here.
Councilmember Lockett.
Here.
Councilmember Whitfield.
Here.
Councilmember Alexander.
Here.
Councilmember Brown Sr.
Here.
And Councilmember Shainer.
Here.
Okay. It's like everybody's here. Each of you should have a copy
So
of the
moved.
minutes.
Second.
It has been moved and properly second that we approve the minutes as presented. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Our minutes stand approved. At this time, we are going to our committee reports, and our first committee report will be brought to us by Ways and Means, Councilmember Brown Jr. substituting for Councilmember Mays.
Thank you, Mayor. Ways and Means met just before this council meeting. Tonight, we have 7 budget adjustments. The first budget adjustment is coming from Community Development. It's the 2021 carryover budget adjustment to 2022. It's the total of $524,891. I move that we approve this budget adjustment.
Second.
It has been moved and properly second that a budget adjustment coming from Community Development, this is 2021 carryover budget to 2022, in the amount of $524,981 be approved. The floor is open for questions, comments. Hearing none, all in favor of this budget adjustment, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Budget adjustment approved.
Second budget adjustment also comes from Community Development, 2021 carryover budget to 2022. This is, the total amount is $593,982. I move that we approve this budget adjustment.
Second.
It has been moved and properly second that a budget adjustment from 2021 carryover community development in the amount of $593,982 be approved. The floor is open for questions or discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of this budget adjustment, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Budget adjustment approved.
Third budget adjustment is coming from the fire department. Total budget adjustment is $54,500. This is coming from within their own department. It's coming from various line items within the fire department, and it is going to technology services, gas, oil, and lubricants, operating expense, overtime, as well as janitorial expenses. I move that we approve this budget adjustment.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that a budget adjustment coming from the fire department in the amount of $54,500 be approved. The floor is open for questions, comments. Hearing none, all in favor of this budget adjustment, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Budget adjustment approved.
Fourth budget adjustment is coming from Parks. The total budget adjustment is $166,900. This budget adjustment is coming from within the department, and it is coming from purchase auto, capital purchases, salaries, repair and maintenance building, purchase machinery and equipment, and it is going to various line items dealing with maintenance within the parks. I move that we approve this budget adjustment.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that a budget adjustment in the Parks Department to carry them through the end of the year be approved in the amount of $166,900. The floor is open for questions. Hearing none. All in favor of this budget adjustment, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Budget adjustment approved.
Next budget adjustment is coming from the 2017 sales tax. It's for $3,000. It's coming out of the expenses for our entrance signs, and it's going toward that purpose. I move that we approve this budget adjustment. Second.
It's been moved and properly second that a budget adjustment coming from the 2017 sales tax, coming from entry signs being moved to, it's not going for the purpose of entry signs, it's for
Actually, it's for
completion
the
of
first
first
responders.
responders law.
Make that mistake. Sorry.
There was a bit of shortfall there of $3,000. The floor is open for questions.
Madam Mayor, does that exhaust the line item for interest signs for this calendar year?
I'm not sure whether anything was left there or not. I just knew $3,000 was needed to finish out the first responders home remodeling purchasing plan for 2022. It should be pretty close to it. We hope not, because we want to put an entry sign out near UAPD.
Right, we probably have to adjust some things to get that done, but we'll see what we can do.
There may be a small amount left, but we want to do that entry sign out on the north side. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of this budget adjustment, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Budget adjustment approved.
Budget adjustment number 6, coming from the transit department. Total budget adjustment is $38,240. This is coming from within their department, and it's going to overtime, technology services, as well as operating expense. I move that we approve this budget adjustment.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that a budget adjustment coming from the transit department in the amount of $38,240 be approved. The floor is open for questions. Hearing none, all in favor of this budget adjustment, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Budget adjustment approved.
Last budget adjustment for the evening is coming from the street department. Total budget adjustment is $95,000. It's coming from within the department from drainage, culverts, and bridges, and it's going to gas, oil, and lubricants, as well as street maintenance. I move that we approve this budget adjustment.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that a budget adjustment coming from the street department in the amount of $95,000 be approved. The floor is open for questions. Hearing none, all in favor of this budget adjustment, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Budget adjustment approved.
Mayor, that concludes Ways and Means.
Thank you, Councilmember Green. Next, we'll have our ordinances and resolutions coming from Councilmember Mays. Substituting will be Councilmember Holcomb.
Thank you, Mayor. We will have 17 agenda items. Number 1 will be completed tonight. Number 2 will be completed tonight. Number 3 is up for the first reading, and everyone should have on their table an ordinance that will be added to the agenda. And ordinance 3A, which would be completed tonight, and according to the sponsor, Councilmember Alexander, agenda item number 12 has been pulled from the agenda.
I move to add this ordinance to the agenda.
Second.
So agenda item number 12 has been pulled from the agenda. If you go to agenda item number 15, so everyone is,
We need to add,
I'm sorry. Has it been second?
Councilmember Lockett, second. I'm sorry, I thought we were ready.
Okay, can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Mays. Councilmember Holcomb.
Aye.
Councilmember Brown Jr.
Aye.
Councilmember Lockett.
Aye.
Councilmember Whitfield.
I want to make sure I get clarity. This is in reference to the North Holly Street ordinance.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Councilmember Brown Senior.
Aye.
Councilmember Shainer. Councilmember Alexander.
I wonder, I wasn't supposed to say that, that's not right. But I answered anyway.
I do apologize. 8-0.
Okay, and just for clarity, agenda item number 12 has been pulled. And if you go to agenda item number 15, everyone should have on their table an addition, new first page. And so that concludes orders and resolution.
Thank you, Councilmember Holcomb. Economic and Community Development, Councilmember Brown Senior.
Thank you, Mayor. As we all have heard, that there were 2 budget adjustments coming out of community development. Councilman Brown Jr. Just spoke of, and of course, on last week, we had a decent, real nice budget meeting with the city. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilmember Brown. Public Health and Welfare, Councilmember Shainer.
Thank you, Mayor. Public health and welfare has not met since our last meeting. Our next meeting will be in December. And I'll set the date for that.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilmember Shainer. Public Works, Councilmember Whitfield.
Thank you, Mayor. Public Works did meet. In our meeting, we had opportunity to discuss Resolution 10 and 11 in reference to the Detective Calvin Collins complex. We're asking it pass to the council with a due pass vote, so we're hoping that we'll get support on it. The only concern I have there, Mayor, maybe at the next meeting, before I leave the council, we can figure out how we're going to put his name on the building. I'm still bothered that we're doing work. I think it's great. I think it looks good. It's going to look good. But I think when we name something after someone, we need to go ahead and figure out a way to make sure their name is attached to the building on a permanent basis. So hopefully
That has been ordered. They have been ordered.
that has been ordered.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Our committee was not informed on that, but I'm glad to hear that's been taken care of. Tonight we had a budget adjustment from the street department, and I didn't want to put Ms. Reedus on the spot, but I will say that my concern was that it was another large budget adjustment. I think of $166,000, but they did in fact find it within their budget, so that made it much easier for us to pass and vote on it. So I do want to commend her and whoever else working that out, and hopefully they'll have enough to make it to the end of the year. Cause that's been one of our sore spot was the park and rec and the reckless spending that they have on record. So I want to give credit where credit is due. Now, for the sake of time and everything else, I would say that I have other discussion, but I'll wait till those items come up. So that ends my report.
Thank you, Councilmember Whitfield. Our next report will come from Development and Planning, Councilmember Lockett.
Yes, ma'am. Last meeting of Development and Planning was conducted on November the 10th, and Councilmember Holcomb chaired that meeting because I was on a work assignment out of town. So I'm thinking those items number 4, 5, 3A, 4, 5, 6, and 7 were forwarded to the council with a due pass. That concludes my report, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Lockett. Traffic and Aviation, Councilmember Alexander.
Thank you, Mayor. Traffic and Aviation has not met since our last council meeting. We have a meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock a.m. via Zoom. This concludes my report.
Thank you. Administration, Councilmember Holcomb Jr.
Thank you, Mayor. The Administration Committee has not met since November the 9th during the budget committee hearing meetings. Our next meeting will be the second Tuesday of December, which will be December the 12th, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilmember Holcomb. Public Safety, Councilmember Brown Jr.
Thank you, Mayor. Public safety is met only for our budget meeting. We didn't have a meeting scheduled for this month because of that. And our meeting for December, I will give a date for that later. I'm not sure if we'll be able to meet at that time or not, but I'll let the clerk know. And that concludes my report.
Okay. That concludes all of our committee reports. Next, we're going to go into our announcements as we normally do, announcements between committee reports and ordinances and resolutions. Is Mr. Bob Abbott here tonight? I don't see him, but there was some recognition bestowed upon him from the President of the United States. He received a Lifetime Achievement Award, and we're going to acknowledge that. We'll just do it briefly here. Mr. Abbott is a Pine Bluff resident, as we all know. This award was granted by President Joseph R. Biden, and it was awarded to Mr. Abbott for a lifetime commitment to building a stronger nation through volunteer service. And most of his volunteer service has been right here in the city of Pine Bluff. We do have a certificate and a letter from President Biden, but we're not going to read all that at this time. Hopefully he can be with us at our next meeting. So we'll forego that. We just wanted you to know that he did receive that honor. Christmas in the Pines will take place on November 27th, and that will happen right here at the Pine Bluff City Hall from 4 to 6 p.m. Christmas activities like face painting, vendor shopping, hay rides, petting zoo will be here, and this will be the annual Christmas tree lighting celebration will be the grand highlight. And the Christmas tree lighting starts at 6 p.m. Again, that's this coming Sunday, November 27th, at the Plaza, the 601 Main Street Plaza. Okay? Small Business Plaza. We're issuing a proclamation to proclaim November 26th as Small Business Saturday in the city of Pine Bluff. This will be a day to support local businesses and help them grow and create jobs. Let's all shop local
not just that Saturday, but let's all shop local as much as possible, anytime we shop. Council members, I have for you an update. This is a mayoral office update. William is going to pass one out to each one of you. We want you to know that one of the actions, we've hired a group intervention director, and there'll be information on that memo that talks about that position, person who was hired. And then the other item on there is the Hotel Public Facilities Board and the hotel for the convention center, and that's the Marriott Courtyard, has been approved for our convention center hotel. And I want you all to be aware of a very important meeting that's taking place on December 3rd. It's a civilian response to active shooter event. And we think it's critical that we attend this event because of the times in which we're living. This is going to be hosted by Bethany Chapel Missionary Baptist Church. That's 1923 South Olive Street. And this is hosted in partnership with the FBI. Again, that's going to be December 3rd, 2022 at 10 a.m. FBI representatives will be present, and they'll present strategies, guidance, and a proven plan for surviving an active shooter event. If you have questions or would like to attend, contact Kathy Richards at 870-329-8491 or Mary Davis at 870-592-2183 to register for this event. At first, they were going to have a small number, but I think the people who are interested in coming, that number has increased, so you don't necessarily have to register. They have increased the space, the capacity of the area where that's going to be held, but it will still be at the church. So the rest of I'm not going to read all that for the sake of time, so council members, at your time, your leisure, please read the rest of your memo. Thank you so much. Those are our announcements for this evening.
Mayor,
I'm sorry.
I'm concerned about the position, the intervention director.
Okay.
I'm just,
Did you want me to go through that? I will.
yeah, well, just talk to that a little bit, because.
Okay. The
Yes.
group intervention director, and I guess I can understand why you're concerned about that, because we did make a large investment
Right.
into hiring this person over that 5-year period. So our office is pleased to announce that Lenita Hughes has accepted the position for Group Violence Intervention Director, and she will begin on or before January 31st, 2023. Ms. Hughes will be responsible for developing GVI strategies and providing the day-to-day coordination and management of the Group Violence Intervention Program. She will work collaboratively with other project partners, including but not limited to social service agencies, faith-based community organizations, law enforcement, community members, and educational institutions to ensure the implementation of the GVI strategies. Ms. Hughes graduated, I'm sure you'll be happy to know, from the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff with a degree in criminal justice, and she has a graduate degree in public administration from the University of Nevada in Las Vegas. Ms. Hughes brings 20+ years of senior level work history and a proven track record of success in the fields of homeless services, juvenile justice, and domestic violence. Additionally, she has extensive experience building collaborative partnerships with area businesses, community leaders, and the public in general. We are confident that Ms. Hughes will be an excellent match for this position and a strong asset to the city of Pine Bluff. She will be formally introduced to the city council in February.
Now, with that being said, will this position coincide with any other position that we already have? I mean, it seems like
No.
we have positions already in the police department and some community enforcement already. Will that conflict?
No, it won't conflict. And it's we don't have anything with this specific job description.
And then I wanna know how have we lived for at least 6 years without it already, or maybe even 20 years without it, and all of a sudden we need it now?
We need it now because we're trying to decrease crime. We're trying to make sure
Isn't
that
that what the police force and everybody already doing?
they're doing that, but I don't think they are as effective as they could be in doing that. And I think they're crying out, and the courts are crying out for that additional help to go into the schools, to go into the community.
So now I got a big women. I'm a
I'm sorry.
man,
I-
and you hiring women. You keep hiring, don't forget there's a man, there are men out there too. We keep hiring women. They're gonna take all this job. We need men
Not
sometimes.
necessarily, we're not necessarily hiring men or women. We hire,
I know you're gonna say
receive
we're hiring the
50,
right people, but
we're,
it
so we
appears
hire.
that more women getting these jobs that, to me, I think if you're gonna deal with crime and enforcement like that, I think you need to have somebody stand tall and look a little ugly.
I object.
I think we hire the best qualified person for the job.
I was trying not to hurt
And I
anybody's
would
feelings.
say this, thank you. I would say this, you can't, I don't think you'll find a city with crime any higher than New York City. And this morning, when I looked at Good Morning America, they introduced a new police chief for the city of New York.
I'm not sure
And
what,
she is
whether
a
it's gonna be
female.
effective or not, I'm just not.
So I agree with Councilmember
Well, I didn't want to start a
Alexander.
fight with men and women, I just wanted to say that. I just, Jody, you know I love you, I ain't want to cause no fight.
So we hired the best.
I just had to put that out there because the male gender still exists. I just
Yes,
want
they
to
do.
say it.
And
Okay,
they are respected.
okay,
Yes, sir. Thank you. Any other questions?
that's it.
All right. If there are no more questions, I think that was it for my announcements. We're ready to go into our proposed ordinances and resolutions. Councilmember Holcomb.
Agenda item number 1, an ordinance repealing Division 2 in Article 2 of Chapter 21 of the Code of Ordinance of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, respecting auxiliary police officers and for related purposes, up for the third and final reading.
An ordinance repealing Division 2 and Article 2 of Chapter 21 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, respecting auxiliary police officers and for related purposes.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It has been moved and properly second, or it has been properly moved and second, that an ordinance repealing Division 2 in Article 2 of Chapter 21 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, respecting auxiliary police officers and for related purposes be approved. The floor is open for discussion. Councilmember Lawler.
Could we get an explanation for what the purpose of removing this particular position? Is it just cleaning up the books, or is it something that was mandated by state law or something?
When I spoke with the chief, she was just saying that they have not used auxiliary officers for quite some time and don't plan on having any in the near future, and so she just wanted it removed from, I guess, from the paperwork.
Back in the day, auxiliary officers worked free. Now we use part-time officers because of the seriousness of crime. We require more, we require more training and everything, so that's why they got rid of the auxiliary. That's why she's doing that.
That was the explanation that was given to me. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Any other discussion? Let's vote. All in favor of this ordinance, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ordinance approved.
Agenda item number 2, an ordinance amending section 7-161 of the Code of Ordinance of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, respecting the 2020 National Electric Code and for related purposes, up for the first reading.
Whereas the city has previously adopted the 2020 National Electrical Code, and whereas the Arkansas Department of Labor and Licensing has also adopted this code with the exception to section 210.8F, which deals with the GFCI requirements for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. And whereas the city and state code should be in harmony to avoid confusion for owners and contractors. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Section 1, that Section 7-161 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas is amended to designate the existing language as subsection A and insert the following as subsection B. Consistent with the rules of the Arkansas Department of Labor, Section 210.8F of the 2020 National Electric Code, which deals with the GFCI requirements for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, will not be enforced. This exemption does not affect the applicability of any other city code or regulation. Section 2, all ordinances or parts thereof in conflict with the provisions of this ordinance are repealed to the extent of the conflict. Section 3, this ordinance being of a general permanent nature, the clerk will cause its publication in compliance with Arkansas law. Section 4, this ordinance will take effect on the 31st day after its adoption or the date of its publication, whichever is later.
Suspend the rules, place this ordinance up for a second reading.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we suspend the rules and place this ordinance on its second reading. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Mays.
Aye.
Councilmember Holcomb.
Aye.
Councilmember Brown Jr.
Aye.
Councilmember Lockett.
Aye.
Councilmember Whitfield.
Aye.
Councilmember Alexander.
Aye.
Councilmember Brown Senior.
Aye.
Councilmember Shaner.
An ordinance amending section 7-161 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, respecting the 2020 National Electric Code and for related purposes.
Suspend the rules, place this ordinance up for its third and final reading.
Second.
It has been moved and second that we place this ordinance on its third and final reading. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Mays.
Aye.
Councilmember Holcomb.
Aye.
Councilmember Brown Jr.
Aye.
Councilmember Lockett.
Aye.
Councilmember Whitfield.
Aye.
Councilmember Alexander. Councilmember Brown Senior.
Aye.
And Councilmember Shaner.
An ordinance amending section 7-161 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, respecting the 2020 National Electric Code and for related purposes.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It has been properly moved and second that an ordinance amending section 17-161 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, respecting the 2020 National Electric Code and for related purposes be approved. The floor is open for a discussion. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor of this ordinance, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ordinance approved.
Agenda item number 3, an ordinance amending section 110 of the Policy and Procedures Manual of the Pine Bluff Police Department and related purposes.
Whereas the police department desires to make additions to the acceptable uniforms for department personnel, now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Section 1, that Section 110 of the Policy and Procedures Manual for the Pine Bluff Police Department is amended to add as acceptable uniform attire the uniform and clothing items set forth in the attached Exhibit A, which is incorporated by reference. Section 2, that an ordinance or any part of an ordinance in conflict herewith is repealed to the extent of the conflict. Section 3, this ordinance not being of a general or permanent nature, it need not be published and shall take effect immediately upon adoption.
Place it on the calendar. Agenda item 3A, an ordinance to close the 300 and 400 block of North Holly Street, the 400 block of North Catopla Street, the 2800 and 2900 blocks of Vaughn Street, and the 2800 and 2900 blocks of Skull Street, and portions of east-west alleys located between Gum and Birch Streets.
Whereas a petition was duly filed with the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas to close the 300 and 400 block of North Holly Street and 400 block of North Catopla Street, the 2800 and 2900 blocks of Vaughn Street, and the 28 and 2900 blocks of Skull Street, and portions of the east-west alleys located between Gum and Birch Streets. And whereas after proper notice as required by law, the city has heard all persons desiring to be heard on the question and has ascertained that the 300 and 400 block of North Holly Street, the 400 block of North Catalpa Street, the 28 and 2900 blocks of Vaugeen Street, and the 28 and 2900 blocks of Skull Street, and portions of the east-west alleys located between Gum and Birch Streets, and heretofore has been dedicated to the public use as public streets and/or alleys, and that the public interest and welfare will not be adversely affected by the closing of said streets and alleys. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, that the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas hereby releases, vacates, and abandons all its rights together with the rights of the public except those specifically set forth below in and to the portion of the street and alley rights of ways designated as set forth below. Section 2. A copy of the ordinance duly certified by the city clerk shall be filed in the office of the recorder of Jefferson County and recorded in the deed of records in the county. Section 3, that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are repealed to the extent of such conflict.
Suspend the rules, place ordinance up for its second reading.
Second.
It has been properly moved and second that we suspend the rules and place this ordinance on its second reading. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Mays.
Aye.
Councilmember Holcomb.
Aye.
Councilmember Brown Jr.
Aye.
Councilmember Lockett.
Aye.
Councilmember Whitfield.
Aye.
Councilmember Alexander. Councilmember Brown Senior.
Aye.
And Councilmember Shana.
An ordinance to close the 300 and 400 block of North Holly Street, the 400 block of North Catalpa Street, and the 28th and 2900 blocks of Vaugeen Street, and the 28th and 2900 blocks of Skull Street, and portions of the east-west alleys located between Gum and Birch Streets.
Suspend the rules, place this ordinance up for its third and final reading.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that we suspend the rules and place this ordinance on its third and final reading. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Mays.
Aye.
Councilmember Holcomb.
Aye.
Councilmember Brown Jr.
Aye.
Councilmember Lockett.
Aye.
Councilmember Whitfield.
Aye.
Councilmember Alexander. Councilmember Brown Senior.
Aye.
And Councilmember Shana.
An ordinance to close the 300 and 400 block of North Holly Street, the 400 block of North Catalpa Street, and the 28 and 2900 blocks of Vaugeen Street, and the 28 and 2900 blocks of Skull Street, and portions of the east-west alleys located between Gum and Birch Streets.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It has been properly moved and second that an ordinance to close the 300 and 400 block of North Holly Street, the 400 block of North Catalpa Street, the 28 and 2900 blocks of Vaugeen Street, and the 28 and 2900 blocks of Skull Street, and portions of the east-west alleys located between Gum and Birch Streets be approved. The floor is open for discussion. Questions? Hearing none, all in favor of this ordinance, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ordinance approved.
Agenda item number 4, a resolution declaring certain houses, buildings, and/or structures as nuisance and ordering their abatement.
Whereas the City Council has
Move for
determined.
adoption.
Second.
It has been properly moved and second that a resolution declaring certain houses, buildings, and other structures nuisances and ordering their abatement be approved. The floor is open for discussion. Questions? Hearing none, all in favor of this resolution number 4, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved.
Agenda item number 5, a resolution providing for placement of costs of correcting certain nuisance on tax books as delinquent taxes and collected as such.
Whereas ACA 1454-903.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It has been moved and properly second that a resolution providing for replacement of costs of correction certain nuisances on tax books as delinquent taxes and collected as such be approved. The floor is open for discussion. Councilmember Whitfield.
Mayor, I just want to encourage the young man that came up, that if he goes to those office, I'm not sure, was he complaining about zoning or code enforcement? They'll be willing to work with him. I don't want him to think his cry was not heard, tonight, so I just want him to know that if he go back to them and hopefully have some kind of conversation with them, I'm sure the director will be willing to work with him to clear up any misunderstanding there may be.
That was John Finley. Mr. Finley, did you hear that?
I did, thank you.
Okay, and I'd like to sit in on that meeting. I'd like for you to call my office and let's schedule that meeting, if you will. And if you'd like for us to call you, just give us your number before you leave tonight, and we'll contact you and schedule it. Okay? Thank you.
And Mayor, excuse me, it was a lady came in, was asking Miss Carter about a house. I don't see her back there.
I think she left. Evidently, they cleared it out.
She left? Okay. You
I
took
think-
care of it.
She was at the wrong meeting. I think she should have been at Development and Planning, not this meeting.
Okay, thank you. As long as she was taken care of, yes, ma'am.
All right, are there any other questions, discussions on resolution number 5? If not, all in favor of resolution number 5, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved.
Agenda item number 6, a resolution authorizing the sale of real property, 2007 Chestnut Street, southeast corner of 20 and Chestnut, and 2120 South Pine Street.
Whereas the city has received offers to purchase real properties described below from Donnie R. Savage, doing business as Delante Investment LLC, and whereas the offers for each parcel are reasonable and it is in the public interest that the properties be returned to private ownership, and whereas the mayor should be authorized to execute a deed to convey the properties to the prospective purchaser under the terms outlined below. Now therefore be it resolved by the city council of the city of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, section 1, that offers submitted by Donnie R. Savage, doing business as Delante Investment LLC, to purchase real properties listed in section 2 are accepted contingent on the terms outlined herein. Section 2, the properties to be sold and the consideration to be paid for each are as follows. The southeast corner of 20th Avenue and Chestnut Street for $1,400. 2007 South Chestnut Street, $1,400. And 2120 South Pine Street for $4,000. Total amount to be paid, $3,800. Section 3, full payment of the total amount for the purchase of the properties must be made within 90 days from the date of adoption of this resolution. Payment will be made to the city collector's office in the form of payment acceptable to the collector. Section 4, upon full payment, the city attorney's office will prepare a quitclaim deed to the properties and submit the deed to the mayor's office for signature. The mayor is authorized and directed to execute the deed in favor of the purchaser or the purchaser's designee, and the city clerk is authorized to attest the mayor's signature. Section 5, once the deed is delivered to the purchaser, he shall have 30 days to record the deed instrument with the Jefferson County Deed Recorder. If the purchaser fails to record the deed within the time period, the city reserves the right to record the deed and bill the purchaser for the cost thereof. Section 6, in the event the purchaser fails to pay the total consideration within the time period specified in Section 3, the acceptance of this offer is withdrawn, null and void, and the property will remain in inventory.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It has been properly moved that a resolution authorizing the sale of real property, 2007 Chestnut Street, southeast corner of 20th and Chestnut, and 2021 South Pine Street be approved. The floor is open for a discussion. Any questions? Hearing none. Councilmember Mays.
Thank you, Mayor. It was a lady in that area. I don't see her out there, but just go ahead with it, because I don't see her out there.
You mean the lady who we directed, Ms. Williams to?
No, somebody else.
Okay,
Somebody else.
all right,
Just go ahead.
okay.
Go ahead. We'll deal with that later. Just you put it on record, just in case something comes up. Just
Put what on record?
that I said, about the property, and just go ahead. Just,
All right, there are
just
no
go
more
ahead.
questions.
Just go ahead.
All in favor of this resolution? Were there any other comments or discussions? If not, all in favor of this resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved.
Agenda item number 7, a resolution authorizing the sale of real property, the 5400 block of West 14th Avenue, South Side, and 5400 block West 15th Avenue, North Side.
Whereas the city has received offers to purchase the real properties described below from Odell Bettis, and whereas the offers for each parcel are reasonable and it is in the public interest that the properties be returned to private ownership, and whereas the mayor should be authorized to execute a deed to convey the properties to the prospective purchaser under the terms outlined below. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Section 1, that the offers submitted by Odell Bettis to purchase the real properties listed in Section 2 are accepted contingent on the terms outlined herein. Section 2, the properties to be sold and the consideration to be paid for each are as follows: 5400 block of West 14th Avenue, South Side, $1,000. 5400 block of West 15th Avenue, North Side, $1,000. Total amount to be paid, $2,000. Full payment of the total amount for the purchase of the properties must be made within 90 days from the date of adoption of this resolution. Payment will be made to the city collector's office in a form of payment acceptable to the collector. Section 4, upon full payment, the city attorney's office will prepare a quitclaim deed to the properties and submit the deed to the mayor's office for signature. The mayor is authorized and directed to execute the deed in favor of the purchaser or purchaser's designee, and the city clerk is authorized to attest the mayor's signature. Section 5, once the deed is delivered to the purchaser, he shall have 30 days to record the deed instrument with the Jefferson County Deeds Recorder. If the purchaser fails to record the deed within this time period, the city reserves the right to record the deed and bill the purchaser for the cost thereof. Section 6, in the event the purchaser fails to pay the total consideration within the time period specified in Section 3, the acceptance of this offer is withdrawn, null, and void, and the property will remain in inventory.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that a resolution authorizing the sale of real property, 5400 block of West 14th Avenue, South Side, and 5400 block of West 15th Avenue, North Side, be approved. The floor is open for discussion. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor of this resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved.
Agenda item number 8, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a lease agreement with the First Ward Living Grace Food Pantry Incorporated for use of the old fire station facility located off Commerce Street and for related purposes.
Whereas in resolution number 4588 passed October 3rd, 2022, the City Council evidenced its intent to lease the real estate and improvements off of Commerce Street, which had heretofore been used as a fire station, but is now used for other purposes, to Deborah Allen, operating the First Ward Living Grace Food Pantry Incorporated, subject to the property being approved for use as a food pantry in compliance with applicable city codes. And whereas real estate has been approved by the Planning Commission for use as a food pantry, the requisite inspections of the improvements have been made and satisfactorily completed, and a lease document between the city and First Ward Living Grace Food Pantry should be executed, setting forth the terms of her occupancy of the property. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Section 1, the mayor is authorized and directed to execute a lease agreement with First Ward Living Grace Food Pantry Incorporated for the food pantry to occupy and use the real estate and improvements off of Commerce Street, heretofore used as a fire station, with the street address and legal description of the property to be set out in the lease. Section 2, the term of the lease will be for 15 years commencing on November the 1st, 2022, ending October 31st, 2037. Section 3, the lease, for the reasons outlined in Resolution 4588, will pay no rent for the months of November and December 2022. Thereafter, the rent due from the lessee is $1 per annum due and payable and as prescribed in the lease agreement, with first payment due January 2nd, 2023. Payment will not be considered past due unless it is not paid in 30 days after January 2nd of each year. So Section 4, expenses for bringing the lease facility into compliance with city codes or repairs made to the electrical or utility systems in the facility made before November 15th are the responsibility of the city. Section 5, the terms and conditions of the lease agreement presented to the council with this resolution are approved as consistent with the provisions hereof.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It has been properly moved and second that a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a lease agreement with the First Ward Living Grace Food Pantry for use of the old fire station facility located off Commerce Street and for related purposes be approved. The floor is open for discussion.
I would like to, yes, Mayor, commend Ms. Allen and Alderman Whitfield for putting this together. I was over there this weekend, had a nice gathering. Mayor, you was there. It was very nice for our city. Just keep doing what we're doing.
Councilmember Brown Senior.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I did pass out some food when she was at Southeast School, and I always thought it was good. And so, along with Alderman Whitfield, I'd like to be a sponsor. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to sponsor as well.
Okay, that's Brown Senior. Mays. Anybody else want to be added on as a sponsor?
You can add me, man.
Lockett.
Add me as well.
Holcomb.
Shaner.
Shiner. Alexander. Anybody else? Only one left.
Might as well, go
Might
ahead.
as
I'm
well.
voting for
Brown
it, so.
Senior.
Make it unanimous, Brown.
Right, I'm voting for it, so, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. With that said, let's vote. All in favor of this resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved.
Agenda item number 9, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a contract for services with Media Vision 2020 LLC.
Whereas the city solicited written quotations from interested vendors to provide needed media and information services, and whereas after having obtained 3 written quotations to provide the media and information services, the firm of Media Vision 2020 LLC provided the best and most competitive bid to perform the desired services. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, the mayor is authorized to execute an agreement memorialized in the attached one-page document with Media Vision 2020 LLC to perform the services set out in the agreement for the consideration, terms, and conditions therein set forth.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It has been properly moved and second that resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a contract for services with Media Vision 2020 LLC be approved. The floor is open for discussion. Questions? Ms. Councilman Alexander?
The total for this is $18,000.
Yes, this is connected to the Help Literacy, Advancing Literacy Grant. And William, will you come and speak to this one, please? This is the Help Literacy Grant that we are targeting community gatherings and whatnot.
Yes, so we've actually worked with that company for the past 3 months prior to October, and they have been doing things like geofencing for us. They boost a lot of our social media posts, and we have seen an increase in our numbers. For example, we went from like 3,000 to like 100,000 in our reach, and so this is just going to take us throughout the rest of our grant cycle next summer, and that's coming out of our marketing budget, not the city dollars, our federal dollars.
Thank you.
I got one question, ma'am. Is this a local company or someone that we, you know?
Is
we-
this company, there are no local companies who are providing this service, but this is an Arkansas-based company, I believe. But we had to go, nationwide, and we got a couple from Arkansas and some from out of state. We just went with the lowest bidder and also the people we've been working with.
Oh, okay,
We did go through a procurement process.
okay. I didn't want to overlook Mr. Gilliard over there, so I'm good. He don't provide that service, so I'm good.
All right. Any other questions? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor of this resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved.
Agenda item number 10, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a contract with Carson and Associates Incorporated for work concerning the renovation of the city council chambers in the city hall building.
Whereas the city has solicited bids from interested vendors to perform necessary work to renovate the city council chambers within City Hall building, and whereas the firm of Carson and Associates Incorporated submitted the lowest, most responsible bid to perform the work, and a contract should be executed with the firm for this purpose. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, the mayor is authorized to execute an agreement in substantial conformity with the attached AIA document and addendums with Carson and Associates Incorporated to perform the work set out in the agreement and for the consideration, terms, and conditions set therein set forth. The city clerk will attest the mayor's signature where needed.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a contract with Carson and Associates for work concerning the renovation of the city council chambers in the city hall in the Kevin Collins building. This is in the Kevin Collins building. That's what should be there. Okay, we'll make that change. Be approved.
The first one is the council chambers, I think.
I'm sorry.
We're on agenda item number 10.
Number 10, Carson and Associates for work concerning renovation of the city council chambers, but this is going to be the new city council chambers in the Kevin Collins building.
Okay.
I'm sorry. No, Carson is doing the chamber.
Okay.
Okay? Any questions? Discussion? And we will say that Carson was the lowest bidder on this job. We did do the proper procurement, and they're not local, but they are a black company out of Little Rock. All in favor of this resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved.
Agenda item number 11, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a contract with Allison and Partners Incorporated for services concerning the renovation of the Detective Kevin D. Collins Center, converting one floor to police training and conference center.
Whereas the city solicited proposals from interested vendors to provide necessary services regarding the conversion of one floor of the Detective Kevin D. Collins Center to a police training and conference center, and whereas the firm of Allison and Partners Incorporated submitted the best, most competitive proposal to provide the services, and a contract should be executed with the firm for this purpose. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, the mayor is authorized to execute an agreement in substantial conformity with the attached A1A document with Allison and Partners Incorporated to perform the work set out in the agreement for the consideration, terms, and conditions therein set forth. The city clerk will attest the mayor's signature where needed.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a contract with Allison and Partners for services concerning the renovation of Detective Kevin D. Collins Center that is converting the first floor to Police Training and Conference Center be approved. The floor is open for discussion. Questions? Hearing none, all in favor of this resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved.
Agenda item 13, a resolution approving a memorandum of agreement with the Civic Auditorium Complex Commission respecting use of the Convention Center meeting rooms and facilities.
Whereas since early 2020, in response to the social distancing prescriptions associated with the COVID-19 pandemic, the city has made use of the meeting rooms and facilities of the Pine Bluff Convention Center for meetings of the city council and other meetings and events. And whereas the city has not paid the convention center for its use of the meeting rooms and facilities, which represents a considerable loss of income. And whereas the city desires to continue to make use of the convention center meeting rooms and facilities until such time as a new site is ready. And whereas the attached memorandum of agreement has been negotiated to compensate the convention center for past and future use of its facilities, which is before the council for consideration. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, that the attached 2-page memorandum of agreement between the city and the Civic Auditorium Complex Commission concerning the past and future use of the meeting rooms and facilities in the Pine Bluff Convention Center, setting forth the consideration terms and conditions pertaining thereto, is approved, and the mayor is authorized to sign the document for the city and the city clerk to attest the mayor's signature.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that a resolution approving a memorandum of agreement with the Civic Auditorium Complex Commission respecting use of convention center meeting rooms and facilities be approved. The floor is open for discussion. Questions, Councilmember Whitfield?
Ma'am, my question is this anything different from what we had last 2 weeks ago? What has changed on this? That's my first question, and then let me go ahead and answer my second one. In section 5, it says that there's $111,000. Are we repaying them? Or are we saying the insurance elapsed these 2 years, or are we just replacing the money?
We're paying the insurance bill.
So they don't have insurance on this building now? Is that what we're saying? Are we paying? Did they pay it and they asking us for a refund, or are we paying it to get caught up on it?
It's paid from our office. We pay it.
Okay, so you lost me on that one. So it's already paid. I'm asking if.
They have insurance. We pay.
Okay, they have insurance.
Yes.
Okay, I was just concerned about that.
Yes, most definitely.
So my other question was
it's
there
not-
anything different in this one than it was last week? Because I'm just concerned because nobody could answer my question. Are we charging ourselves? Are we charging mama or mother-in-law again?
That's it.
That was my only concern.
That ain't good enough, Mayor. You just bow your head.
So what now?
He asked, what's the difference between the last time we discussed this and now? And what he was saying was that, are we charging our mother-in-law to live with us? I'm like
Well,
that too.
The convention center has incurred a substantial amount of additional costs because of all the meetings that we've had. There was an agreement that was put in place back in 2020, as I said here, early 2020, that we would help to offset some of that by paying the insurance on the bill. That's how that came about. And we have more. We're not talking about just this meeting. We're talking about costs that they incur for the employees, for heat, air. We have planning commission meetings, town hall meetings. Our non-uniform meetings are always here. City council, city council meetings. Any city-related meetings that are held here, we don't pay any extra for the extra costs that they incur.
But Mayor, I certainly understand what you're saying, but Whitfield said charge your mother-in-law. I want to say you charge your husband for living with you. That's what because this is supposed to be a city building, So why are we charging to live in our own house?
We're just trying to offset some of the additional expenses, because if we didn't have all these meetings, that money that they're spending would be in their budget. But it's going outside of their budget because they're incurring additional bills or expenses because of the extensive amount of time we've been using it, especially since COVID.
So the 2%, the 2 cent sales tax dollars that is collected, it's not good enough for the convention center? I mean, for this?
No, it's good enough, but like I said, we've used it a lot. And there's expenses from employees who have to come in for cleaning, for setup, for all the things that they have to do, plus the operational costs. Everything increased as a result of that over this time.
I do understand. I think in this case, the convention center director or finance people should have been here, because we're going to vote for this, and I think somebody should have been here tagging this or representing this for any questions that we may have had. But I do remember when the 2 cent and the hotel tax was passed. It's a few years, long time ago, and it was to take care of the convention center, and the convention is to upkeep and better Pine Bluff with conventions as well as any other city use. I don't see why I understand what you said, that they are incurring some more costs. I understand it, but within that tax, that's 2 cent and hotel tax all by yourself. I'll have to try to understand that, but it's hard right now because that's 2 cent. That's not 5/8 cents. That's 2 cent, and that's collected every time you buy a hamburger or perhaps some kind of special with the hotel. I don't know what that is, but I do know that it's a tax that's added, and I just don't want to think we need to pay for our own building. I think that should go like a part of the program. But that's my opinion, period. I just don't think we should have to pay for a building that we own. I mean, because we're already paying for it, because the city council has the right to decide on where the taxpayers' money is going. So this building is receiving taxes from the public, which is a part of what we do. And I just can't understand paying the husband and wife to live in the same house. I just can't. If it's your house too, I can't see one of them paying that.
Councilmember Alexander.
I have 3 questions so far. The first one is, when are they going to charge us for 2022? The second one is, where's this money coming from? And the third one is it correct that the convention center is about $500,000 in the red right now, so they really can't afford to pay their own insurance and they need us to help?
As far as the $500,000 in the red, I'm not sure about that, but this was something that, I know what I've read. This is something that we had agreed to prior to any of that. I will say that what we have caused them to incur is just for the extra meeting time that we have had. This money is going to be coming from, we had appropriated it from just regular sales tax, general sales tax.
So we have it in a line item currently?
Yes, we have had it in a line item.
Or will this have to be one of those carryover items when we finish the budget?
We had it in a line, is Ms. Roberts here? Yes. We had a line item for that when Steve was here. Do we still have that? We did. We had created a line item.
Do you know how much is in there?
Not right on.
And I'm asking because...
She can get you that information in the morning.
Okay, could they go ahead and give an estimate for 2022?
Yes. Now, it did change. It's been changing over the last few years because insurance has been changed. The rates have been changed. But it's still less than what we would have paid if we had paid for the use per each event that we've had over here. It's less than what that would have been. The insurance is less. The way we figured it.
I have one more question.
Oh,
Mayor.
the
Joan had
invoice.
3.
We asked for the invoice for the insurance premiums. I think that was
Mhm.
the difference.
You had 3 questions then?
You said
When
you
it was
asked for
5.
them?
Yeah, the last meeting when it was pulled, we asked could they attach the invoice for the pending property insurance premiums
I'm not
to have it on
sure.
record.
We have that. I didn't have that in my notes,
Okay.
but I could have missed it.
Mayor, my last question is, I think, if I understood you right, you said apparently it's already paid. You said the city paid it. So are we paying back the civil complex people or what? I mean, I'm a little bit confused on it. I want to be supportive, but I'm just a little confused on if it's paid, who are we paying now?
There was 1 year that was missed, and then we have to pay the 2022. And I've forgotten which year it was, but there was 1 year. Yamina, do you have that information?
Yes.
There was 1 year that we missed, and then we have to pay the 2022.
So do I need to amend this to add the 2022? If the money is already in the line
We're
item?
going into the memorandum of understanding, and that will move us forward, was my understanding. Which ones have we paid?
2022 and 2021. And 2020 and 2021. And 2022 is mentioned in that memorandum. That's that range of 75,000 to 85,000.
Hold on.
And the insurance actually went down to 75,000 for 2022.
So the total at the end, the 111,000 is really that plus the 75,000.
Correct.
Okay, so the total number just isn't listed, but it is included once we pass this.
Correct.
Okay, which would be what, $186,991.97.
Any other questions? Okay, if there are no more questions, we'll vote. All those in favor of resolution number 13, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution, I'm sorry.
It's okay, I'm present.
You're present?
Yes.
Okay, resolution approved, that would be 7-1, 7-4, 1 opposed. Do we need a roll call?
Councilmember Mays. Councilmember Holcomb.
Aye.
Councilmember Brown Jr.
Aye.
Councilmember Lockett.
Aye.
Councilmember Whitfield.
Aye.
Councilmember Alexander.
Aye.
Councilmember Brown Senior.
President.
Councilmember Shainer.
Resolution approved.
Agenda item 14, a resolution authorizing the Economic and Community Development Department to acquire assessments via eminent domain to complete the Grant Street Multi-Trail Project.
Whereas the Economic and Community Development Department is engaged in the Grant Street Multi-Trail Project, a project to enhance the quality of life for residents of the city. And whereas to complete the project, easements for the trail path are necessary over some privately owned properties. And whereas some of the owners of the properties on which easements are needed have declined to convey the easement or have ignored efforts to contact them. And whereas the easements are necessary to complete the project, and failing acquisition of the easements by negotiation, the department should be authorized to exercise the city's power of eminent domain to acquire the easements. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Section 1, that the Grant Street Multipurpose Trail Project is a public use requiring easements across the properties described below. Section 2, the easements are necessary for the successful completion of the project, and there are no other reasonable alternatives consistent with the project plan. Section 3, the Economic and Community Development Department is authorized to acquire the needed easements via the city's power of eminent domain through litigation. Section 4, the Economic and Community Development Department is further authorized to acquire the needed easements by negotiating a reasonable price with the owners at any point before or during litigation. Section 5, the properties over which the easements are needed, the owners thereof, and the fair market value of the taking are set forth in the attached Exhibit A, which is incorporated by reference as if set out word for word and number for number.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that a resolution authorizing the Economic and Community Development Department to acquire easements via eminent domain to complete the Grant Street Multi-Trail Project. The floor is open for discussion. Questions? Councilmember Brown Senior,
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry.
Mayor, I'm glad to know that this is coming from community development, and, but I see you are a sponsor. Mr. and Mrs. May is gonna be very exciting, and if I'm not a sponsor too. So, you know who I'm talking about. They will be really, upset. And likewise with you, Mr. Mays. Thank you.
So we're adding Senior
Mhm.
and Mays. Okay. Any other questions or comments? All in favor of this resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved.
Agenda item 15, a resolution amending resolution 4601 to cure advertisement omission.
Whereas the City Council adopted resolution number 4601 titled A Resolution in Support of Funding for an Administrative Site Purchase and Development of the Venues in the Delta Rhythm and Bayous Cultural District. And whereas, in the course of the discussion concerning the resolution, an amendment was made and adopted from the floor directing that the funds specified in Section 1 of the resolution were to be sourced from the 5/8 general sales tax approved by Pine Bluff voters in 2017. And whereas the amendment was inadvertently not added to the language of the resolution before it was signed by the mayor and attested by the city clerk. And whereas it is necessary to amend resolution 4601 to cure this omission. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, that Section 1 of Resolution 4601 passed November 7, 2022 is amended to read as follows. The City of Pine Bluff shall make available the sum of $2 million to its Economic and Community Development Department to develop and construct an initial site of the Delta Rhythm and Bayous Cultural District. These funds are appropriated from the 5/8 cent general sales tax adopted by the voters in 2017.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that a resolution amending resolution 4601 to cure inadvertent omission be approved. The floor is open for discussion. Councilman Alexander.
City Attorney, you read from the 5/8 general sales tax adopted by the voters. So are we voting on what you read or what we have in front of? I'm
Where did
sorry,
I
I
read?
was looking on my laptop. This the one we should be going by.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, question, is this even necessary? Since we already voted this at the last council meeting because the signature was missed, can you not, when you figure out the signature isn't there, can you just go sign it?
The language is different, so we changed the language. We added the language, these funds are appropriated from the 5/8 cent general sales tax adopted by the voters.
But didn't we vote on that amendment at that last meeting?
We did, but it was not included in the resolution, so we're amending the resolution to reflect this language.
Last question. So which department would have been responsible for that?
For what?
Before it received the signature for the language that we made the amendment on at the last meeting.
Our office generally performs that function.
Okay, so this isn't usually what's going to happen, it was just a clerical error.
Correct.
Okay, and I was making sure, because you know, when it comes to the 5/8 sales tax that we allot to go forward, sometimes it seems as if some things are done underhandedly, but since I have your word, I'll take it.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, I
Any
have-
other questions?
Yes,
comments? Councilman Whitfield.
I want to make sure for the record that, what I'm passing out is a certified copy of the motion that I made that night. And I want to make sure I ask Madam Attorney, that's a sealed copy of the record for the motion I made, and that the $2 million that I asked for would be coming from the upcoming budget cycle. So is this going to support the motion that I made on the floor? That's it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Whitfield, this is gonna complete all of
Yes, that completes it, yeah. Okay.
We don't have to go back and do anything
No,
else.
no,
Let's
we
get
good,
started.
we good.
Any other comments, questions? Hearing none. Let's vote. All in favor of the first page or the amendments to this resolution, inadvertent omission of number 15, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved.
Agenda item number 16, a resolution approving interlocal agreement with Jefferson County, Arkansas regarding the 2022 Byron Justice Assistant Grant JAG Program Award.
Whereas for many years, the city has received Burn Justice Assistance grant funds from the U.S. Department of Justice for law enforcement purposes, and whereas the funds received are shared with Jefferson County per an agreed formula, and the terms of the distribution are set forth in a written interlocal agreement. And whereas the interlocal agreement for 2022 has been signed by all parties but needs council confirmation to take effect. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, that the attached interlocal agreement of 2 pages made with Jefferson County, Arkansas, dated October 21st, 2022, regarding Burn Justice Assistance grant funds is approved and confirmed.
Move for adoption.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that a resolution approving an interlocal agreement with Jefferson County, Arkansas regarding the 2022 Burn Justice Assistance Grant, that is the JAG Program Grant Award, be approved. The floor is open for discussion. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor of this resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution approved.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we are adjourned. We have one speaker speaking on a non-agenda item, and that speaker is speaking on the topic Neighborhood Watch, and this speaker is Ms. Norma Ray. Will you come to the podium, Ms. Ray? Ms. Ray, you have 2 minutes.
This summer, the Neighborhood Watch.
It's
Can
on
you,
my
can you
phone.
pull your mic down a little bit? Pull it.
You just turned it on.
There you go.
I'm not used to this.
There you go.
Test it.
Test your mic.
Neighborhood Watch started back about midsummer this year. And we have been meeting every month. We have had the same 2 issues to come up each time, and they have not been resolved yet. I don't know what the steps are supposed to be to get them resolved. There is a house at 40th and Fur that has 2 old vehicles. One is partly in the carport. They have 2 or 3 utility trailers. There is a lot of stuff under the carport. We have, as I said, this has been brought forward at each meeting. Ms. Dorn has turned it in to the code enforcement. We had the code enforcement, a couple of men from there a couple of months ago, and they had not heard of it before, so they looked into it. As of yesterday, still nothing had been done. One of our aldermen had been there and went into the meetings. I don't know the procedure of getting things done. I thought our alderman was supposed to, help us, but it has not. Also in July, there was a light pole that was knocked down at 40th and Fur. Energy has been notified 3 times, 2 times before the hurricane. This past week, Ms. Griffin was our speaker and with Urban Renewal. She was going to contact someone with Energy here at the local office to try to get that resolved. But, Ms. Mayor, Neighborhood Watch comes together so that we can vocalize our concerns. I know our aldermen want us to come to the council meetings, but we don't have the opportunity to talk to them as we would at the Neighborhood Watch. And that's the reason we would like for them to come. It's very important to us for them to come so we can verbalize our concerns, and maybe they could help give us some guidance of what to do to get them resolved. Thank you.
What's that address again?
Pardon?
What's that address again?
The house is 40th and Fur, 4000 South First Street.
Have you contacted either one of your aldermen?
No, sir, I have not.
That's the next step before you get here, to call them and make sure that they know that you have a problem and they can get on code enforcement.
The code enforcement people have contacted them now.
We're free for you to call us.
Pardon?
We are free for you to call us.
Okay.
We welcome your calls. So when you have a problem, you call. If nobody else will respond, call your alderman. That's all you gotta do.
Okay.
Ms. Ray, you said a carport. Where was that located? I have a 40th and Fur.
Ma'am?
Was the carport at a different house, or is
It's
that the same house?
It's the same house
Same
that
house.
has the 2 old vehicles and the utility trailers. And it's at the same corner that the light was knocked out.
Okay. Ms. Ray, we thank you, and we will make sure we get some special attention to this.
Thank you.
I'm glad that you're with us tonight. I believe it was maybe 2 meetings or so ago that we acknowledged the gift that you paid over to the contribution, I guess, you make on behalf of your deceased husband, who visited our aquatic center every single day. And we know you miss him because we miss him from coming there. And we want to thank you for making that donation on his behalf.
He was not rich, but he was generous. And he really enjoyed going to the pool. And it's very good. Anyone who has not been there should go and look at it. It's just real nice. But thank you.
He would be most pleased with the numbers over there now. They are up higher than they've ever been. So we want to thank you for your patronage and thank you for your care, because you and your husband has kept that Neighborhood Watch group alive.
Yes, ma'am.
So we appreciate all that you do. And
Thank
we
you.
will give some attention to this.
And Ms. Ray,
Thank you.
excuse me, you are doing a great job of carrying your husband's legacy on.
Pardon?
You're doing a great job of carrying the legacy of what has already started to make a difference in Pine Bluff.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll see you at our next meeting.